October 20th, 1977, a day that would forever be etched into music history, but not for a chart-topping hit or a triumphant tour finish. Instead, it marked a heart-wrenching tragedy that cut short the rise of one of Southern rock's brightest stars, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Just 3 days earlier, the band had released their album Street Survivors, a project that was meant to elevate them to new heights. They were riding the wave of success with an electrifying show at the Greenville Memorial Auditorium in South Carolina. Songs like Sweet Home Alabama and Free Bird had become anthems. But what none of them knew was that this concert would be their final full performance together. After the album's release on October 17th, the band kicked off a nationwide tour. They opted to fly between cities using a Convair CV-240, a dual-prop airplane built in the 1940s. While it saved time, the aircraft raised eyebrows, particularly from Aerosmith's team, who had considered renting the same plane earlier that year. They passed after noticing concerning behavior from the crew, reportedly including alcohol use. Lynyrd Skynyrd took that risk. Following a show in Lakeland, Florida, they flew into Greenville. Backup singer Cassie Gaines was so uneasy about the plane that she preferred traveling in the band's equipment truck. Others voiced concern too. Lead vocalist Ronnie Van Zant, however, pushed on. Canceling shows wasn't an option in his eyes. They had fans to play for. On October 20th, the group boarded the aging plane en route to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for their next show at LSU. Spirits were high, and many of the 26 passengers were relaxed. Some played poker, others napped, including Van Zant, who was curled up at the back of the plane. The band lineup included Van Zant, guitarist Steve Gaines, Gary Rossington, and Alan Collins, drummer Artemis Pyle, bassist Leon Wilkeson, keyboardist Billy Powell, and the backing vocalists, the Honkettes, featuring Cassie Gaines, Leslie Hawkins, and JoJo Billingsley. Cassie hesitated before boarding. Van Zant tried to ease her fear with chilling words. "If your time is up, your time is up." As the aircraft reached the final leg of its 700-mile journey, trouble struck. The pilots discovered they were low on fuel. In a desperate move to transfer fuel between engines, they mistakenly released the last of it into the air. Panic gripped the cockpit. The right engine had already failed, and now the left engine sputtered out. Their only option: attempt an emergency landing. They aimed for McComb Airport in Mississippi, but it was out of reach. As the plane dropped altitude, the dense Mississippi woods came into view. Guitarist Gary Rossington would later recall the terrifying sound, like baseball bats smacking the plane's fuselage as it tore through treetops. The crash was brutal. Over 1,000 feet of tree limbs were sheared before the plane slammed into a pine tree. In just over 10 seconds, it went from 100 miles per hour to zero. The aircraft shattered, wings, tail, and cockpit ripped apart. The lack of fuel, ironically, prevented a fiery explosion which may have saved lives. Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, and Cassie Gaines didn't survive. Van Zant was thrown from the aircraft and passed away instantly. Steve died on impact, and Cassie, after being thrown from the plane, succumbed to her injuries shortly after. Also lost, road manager Dean Kilpatrick and both pilots. Those who lived didn't escape unscathed. Billy Powell suffered critical injuries to his face and legs. Rossington broke both arms, both legs, wrists, ankles, and his pelvis. Artemis Pyle, with broken ribs, managed to crawl from the wreckage through swampland over a barbed wire fence to seek help. But even that didn't go smoothly. As Pyle stumbled toward a nearby farmhouse, the homeowner, alarmed by the sight, mistakenly fired a warning shot, hitting Pyle in the shoulder. Despite this, he managed to say just 2 words that changed everything. Plane crash. Help soon arrived. First responders were met with a haunting scene. Wreckage strewn across the woods, survivors groaning in agony. Gary Rossington wouldn't learn of Van Zant's passing for days, only hearing it from his mother. In the investigation that followed, the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that the crash was caused by fuel exhaustion due to poor flight planning and oversight by the crew. While the right engine had shown signs of increased fuel consumption, investigators found no catastrophic failure, meaning the crash was preventable. What makes this tragedy even more haunting is that Ronnie Van Zant had often spoken about an early death. "Daddy, I won't live to see 30, he told his father more than once. He predicted he'd go out with his boots on the road performing. He was right. Van Zant passed away just 87 days before his 30th birthday. His wife, Judy, wasn't surprised when she heard about the crash. His premonitions had been too frequent to ignore. Aftermath, legacy, and heartbreak. The band's story didn't end there, but it would never be the same. Alan Collins, one of the founding members, was later involved in a tragic car accident in 1986 that left him paralyzed and took his girlfriend's life. He died in 1990 from pneumonia related to complications of his injuries. Yet, despite these heartbreaks, Lynyrd Skynyrd's legacy endures. Their music, gritty, soulful, unapologetically Southern, remains a pillar of American rock. Free Bird still plays, not just as a song, but as a tribute, a reminder of what was lost and of what still lives on. They were more than a band, they were brothers, rebels, dreamers with guitars. And while the crash silenced their voices, their songs still echo on radios, at concerts, in hearts. If you found this story moving, consider subscribing to Rock Fame Diaries, where we explore the stories behind the music, the legends, and the voices that never fade. Thanks for watching. God bless.